And then kind of the next sections, I'll talk over different areas, different communities online too, to kind of search and kind of X-ray. So another really great call out is Meetup. So I'll go back to that one. Meetup.com is a great kind of um, site, where just a community of people can kind of come and network with each other. A lot of these events have gone virtual, so that's a good call out with COVID. But you can definitely still reach out and kind of find lists of people that go or attend these groups. So just a quick example: Site Meetup, Developer Engineer. Just two examples here. You could kind of break it up and do different examples, but I found this great group in Brooklyn, New York, with around 3,000 active members. So,
Wow.
joining this group would be a recommendation, or even reaching out to the organization or admin of this group and reaching out to them like, how can I connect with your group? How can I network? I'm new to this location. How can I support you in any way? And they've got a website here, webuildblack.com. Build partnerships. Don't just kind of source per se. Use this as an opportunity to kind of build kind of a local network of people too as well. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on Meetup at all.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great way, and you just made a key point. It's about those relationships and making those connections. Because when you start doing this diversity and inclusion sourcing and recruiting, a lot of people want to go to these big national conferences and be seen. Well, there are companies that have been there for years and years and spent lots of money and built relationships. So Meetup is a great way to start building relationships at the local level
Yep.
and getting to know people so that when you get to maybe a regional level, they know you better. You get to a national engagement, then they really know your brand, they know your company, they know who you are. So I think you hit it on the head is this is a great way to start building relationships and getting and to encourage your hiring managers and people in your company to start building those relationships so you get scale with all the outreach and engagement.
Exactly. Well said too. And that's a great call out. Have it getting your hiring managers involved too with the process. If they really want to invest in this area, if they want to find really good talent online, they're going to need to invest their time too as well. So well said. Well said. And there's other ones too. So Instagram is a great one. Things I like about Instagram is that people usually put their job titles, company information right in their profiles, where they live or work. And then you can even see like who they follow, what different events, different companies. You can X-ray this on Google on a desktop, or you could search within your Instagram app too as well. But doing quick searches, I've done a couple: computer science, software developers, UX designers, and so forth too as well. And it's more visual too, so you can kind of see images of profiles too as well. A lot of people on LinkedIn don't maybe have a public LinkedIn picture,
Yeah.
but if you want to kind of expand your image sourcing abilities, then Instagram is a great alternative to that too as well.
And I'm
So
glad to hear you talk about that because a lot of times when people are just getting started with this diversity sourcing work, they wouldn't even think to go to Instagram. Any advice for somebody who's all they got is just free LinkedIn, right? And so this is
I would say you've got LinkedIn, but use all these other communities online to your advantage. Expand your horizons too. So, and you're not going to find everything on one channel. So maybe you might find a job title on Instagram, you find them on GitHub, and you find them on LinkedIn. It's a way to kind of expand your sourcing and your abilities too as well per se. So I would say use Instagram and other avenues just to kind of expand your sourcing abilities, just because a lot of people just have access to LinkedIn and that's all the sourcing that they do, or
yeah,
they wait for people to apply and that's kind of it. So use all these different communities to your advantage.
awesome. No, I really appreciate you sharing that.
Nice. Yeah, so that's another one. Reddit. There's so many different subreddits that are out there. Black women, Black ladies, Native American. There's a couple other ones, Mexican Americans. There's so many different communities where you can kind of find different kind of areas where you can kind of reach out to as well, and find different profiles online. Here's some generic searching too, if you want to search for different kind of tech stacks, and you could search for Hire Chicago as an example. Open to work, looking for new opportunities. You could add that within your search string. Developer for hire, and looking for different users as well. So you'd be surprised. There's a ton of people on these channels that are really tech savvy too. So I know Reddit is seen as kind of a goofy website, but there's a lot of really important communities on there, and then you could definitely kind of connect with people this way too as well.
Great, great. It's
So
awesome.
that's another one. Medium is kind of like WordPress, and but there's lots of different communities on Medium too as well. So a quick example: Black women in tech, and doing a kind of a site search, and I found a couple different communities online too. So like this person's online too as well, writing about kind of this area. You could kind of change up your searching, but to find profiles. But a lot of people are kind of blogging now as well, and site Medium is going to be kind of a really good avenue if you want to kind of X-ray and kind of find profiles or blog posts. Yeah, it's kind of a creative approach too as well.
Yeah, it's great.
So, and Slack communities, there's so many different Slack communities online too. So Latinx, women in sales, Black engineers, just doing a quick search on Slack list. I was looking for Latinx, and I found a Latinx in tech community. There's around 7,000 active members as well. It's kind of a really large nonprofit. And you could join that community, kind of see the different events, what's happening, join them, support them, and connect with a community too as well. So I've had a lot of sourcers use Slack to kind of source, and they've had some really good results from that too as well. So it's a great kind of forum, sort of networking community online.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I typically get is, hey, I don't have a lot of time during the day to do my sourcing or in my job because you got a lot of full life cycle recruiters who are doing sourcing. Um, what advice do you have for people on how to prioritize kind of what they're going to look at or their approach to getting in and doing some of the sourcing and research? Because you can have there's a rich pool of talent out there if you go out and spend the time. Any
Right.
advice for the people that are having that challenge with time?
I would say I am a calendar person like many people. So dedicating, 2 to 3 hours every single week to just pure diversity sourcing. So heads down diversity sourcing. And this is something that, a sourcer could bring to their manager and be like, hey, like, this here's my idea. How about we all sit together for 2 to 3 hours every single week and just focus on sourcing for diverse leads, and setting that up would be kind of my best suggestion too. So dedicating time, if your company really wants to value diverse sourcing, then giving you the opportunity to kind of sit down and heads down sourcing would be kind of my top suggestion too for people. And they love it too. I know my manager, we have time where we dedicate 1 to 2 hours a week just to source for diverse talent, and it's really improved kind of our response rate. It's got people engaged, gets them excited to kind of sit together and join like a Zoom call together, and we source on our roles and kind of create that community at your company where you make this a priority and you make it fun, engaging,
Right.
and you give them some time to kind of dedicate to this. If you don't have time, during your day, you could always do it after hours, but at the same time, I always tell recruiters that, every day is going to be intense, and you really need to kind of push back and being able to say no to certain things, and and so forth too as well. So um, if I guess that would be my answer.
Well, I think that's really, really helpful because a lot of times people prioritize so many things over the sourcing work. And the sourcing work is really the beginning of getting great talent into your process and into your pipeline, right? So
Yeah.
that's
No, well
good.
said. Well said. And I mean, you present this to your manager, and they present it to leadership. And I mean, I'm sure you could definitely get everyone sold on the idea too as well. So, um,
Great.
yeah. So kind of the next one, Dev2 is another great community online. Just a quick example. I did developer her or she, and then I found some profiles that were kind of female related too as well. You could change up the string, but it's a pretty awesome community of developers online. Another one, I'm sure you've heard of this one, Diversity Tech Online. So it's a great tool. People can list if they're open and actively looking for different opportunities within the tech field. So software engineering, design, data, product, business, mobile. They put their name, their job title, kind of the summary of what they're looking for, and then they put kind of their website portfolio or their LinkedIn, and it's a great resource. They've got a newsletter that they send out every 2 or 3 weeks. So anytime someone updates their profile, you get that in an email setting too as well. So yeah, it's a great forum, great community online, and it's just for North America too as well.
Well, you mentioned earlier that because of the pandemic, more people they're really increasing their electronic footprint, right? And so more visibility, more people are out there. It's a great time to have some of these tools in your back pocket as a sourcer.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And other, different kind of tech-related areas. GitHub is huge too as well, and you could search for different locations, different job titles, looking for email addresses, active users, job titles, and there's many different tools available online to kind of scrape this information. But GitHub is always a one I recommend for kind of diversity sourcing and related to kind of tech sourcing too as well.
And when
And
you
yeah, sorry.
question on the Git, so when you go to some of these sites, are you actually going to the site themselves? Or are you using the site search to get to access some of that information mostly?
Great question. There's some more advanced search features on different websites, but I always recommend doing a site search on these sites just because it kind of defines exactly what you're looking for. So I'm telling GitHub, like I'm X-raying the entire site. I want to really find out who joined GitHub in this location with this skill set, and is a woman in that sense. So, or I'm searching for, do they have kind of a Gmail account? So give me every single user in this location with this Gmail. It's able to kind of dwindle down and narrow down your search results right away too. So if you just search kind of a profile directly within GitHub, it just doesn't give you as much variety too as well. So I definitely always recommend doing kind of an X-ray site search if possible.
Yeah, no, and it's the plug that I want to make to people that just get started in sourcing. Right. I mean, some people have, if you're doing full life cycle most of the time and primarily account management, you get away from the sourcing, you get away from the Boolean. I see the site command or operator as my best friend.
Right.
And I encourage people to do that if they don't know about that. I know your books have that information in there, and there's videos out there. And if we have time later, maybe we'll have you do some more demo for people on the
Yep.
site.
I would love that. That would be great.
Perfect.
Yeah, and another one, Facebook group. So there's so many different communities, Black Web Program Engineers, and I know I'm focused primarily on kind of tech,
Yeah,
but the STEM Black contributors. There's so many women engineers, Society of and around 5,000 active users. So, and you could search for different locations too as well. But it's a great avenue to kind of expand your search and you on top of that you can kind of site search Facebook directly if you wanted to do that. And I've listed out kind of my example below, but there's just so many communities online
yeah.
where you can kind of connect and engage with people. It really just opens the doors to just more opportunities to reach out and engage people.
Yeah, and one for our audience that's looking at this, can you talk a little bit about the bonus that you have down there? Can you explain that search, that string?
Yeah, so great call out. I mean, you can search directly. Maybe you didn't realize this, but you could search site search Facebook directly. So you do a Facebook. Let's see if I've got one saved here. Facebook. Um, you could search for just different things here, different profiles of people, but software engineer and Minneapolis, whatever location you're in. Um, and you start to kind of find people too as well. So profiles do pop up, as well. So I've got this Hire Tool thing, so it gives me all the different
Yeah.
networks that they're on too as well. But it's just a great avenue to find additional leads. And there's many people that aren't just they're not active on LinkedIn, but hey, they're on other social media sites. So why don't you kind of expand your horizons and search on GitHub, Twitter, Facebook? It makes more sense now more than ever to kind of expand your sourcing abilities too as well. So, and then there's a lot of people that do put kind of gender related terms on their profile, so you could search for that as well. You could do name generation too as well, but that's something that you could do to kind of expand your searching here. So yeah, so that's a great call out. Let's see. So to present, I needed to add that to present, and then adding that would be really yep, so great. So it kind of just finds you can find
Yeah.
kind
And
of
then,
window down your search here.
and you had in there, you had the minus post. Can you talk a little bit about what that means for people that may not be as familiar with Boolean?
Right. So that just means I don't want to find posts related to this topic. I really want to focus on the summary, not the post sections of a profile too as well. So so yeah, that's kind of a thing that you would kind of do to kind of break that down. So look at this right away. Site, Facebook, job title, location, to present, and then look at all the profiles that kind of pop up too as well. So and it doesn't mean that you need to reach out to them directly on Facebook. With Hire Tool, look at that. I found I could find his email, Gmail, and cell phone number right there. So just a different avenue to kind of reach out to people if you wanted to do that too as well. But yeah, so that's I really enjoy Facebook. There's just a lot more people that are more active on Facebook now too, and everyone puts a job title, everyone puts location as well. So it just kind of expands your search horizons, as I like to say.
No, absolutely. And I appreciate the fact that, we're just kind of casually going through and picking your brain here. And we've got the opportunity to, explain some of the things that people that don't do this every day and their bosses are asking them, hey, go do this, can really benefit from this knowledge and expertise, and at least give them a reference point to start and then go and expand.
Right, a foundation. Yep, exactly. Because it is overwhelming too, and you're like, where do you start? Where do you search? But thankfully, there's just as you said earlier, with COVID and everything else going on, there's just so many more communities online. People are more active, more than ever online. So it's a great avenue to kind of explore too as well. So another one I've had good success with is podcasts. So you could search different podcasts. So I found different ones: Black engineers, females in tech, Latinx entrepreneurs. There's just thousands of different podcasts, and kind of the nice thing about podcasts is they do put their email address in the summary, because a lot of people want to continuously get interviewed. So engineers like me, it's kind of a cool thing. So kind of reaching out, this avenue is great to kind of, and then reaching out to them directly, like, hey, I found your podcast, I really like what you're saying. Would you be open to kind of talking? And usually people just get jazzed by that, so they get kind of excited
Yeah.
from that. So it's kind of a new alternative to kind of find people as well. And also you could look for Spotify. There's ways to kind of site search Spotify and find people's profiles, and you'd be shocked. People do put kind of their job titles, their locations on their
Wow.
profiles too as well.
It's awesome.
So another interesting avenue, I've had kind of some interesting feedback on this. You could search Amazon reviews too as well. So maybe you're focused on kind of a core area like Java. For me, it's backend developers, and looking at people that reviewed, and they're like, hey, I really had impressed by kind of this book. Really, I'm looking to kind of interview in this area, and just doing a quick search, you can find the person on LinkedIn. So it's kind of a unique way to kind of expand your search. Maybe there's some different publications that are out there and
Yeah.
that are really niche. So maybe you're looking for like really niche areas that there's only a certain amount of people that understand the concepts. Use Amazon reviews, find people that way, expand your searching in that way too. So which is pretty interesting. I will review and kind of the next one. is of course Twitter. You can search for different job titles in the profile summaries. Um, you can search for tweets too as well, tweet replies, number of followers. You could kind of X-ray Twitter, and there's also many different hashtags to search for too as well. So Twitter, it's good. I don't. There's not like a ton of active users, I would say, day to day, but it's just another avenue to kind of find someone's information online, kind of cross-reference. Like, oh, you found them on Twitter. Odds are maybe they're on other networks as well. So still wanted to add that one in the mix.
Well, I like the
And
creativity, right?
yeah. It's something outside the box. Maybe you didn't think of that one as a good resource, but yeah, it's worth taking a look at and seeing if it's of value to as well. And in this slide, I gave just a generic kind of Boolean string examples in relation to kind of female tech talent. So many different examples as well. So women who, women in, women for women, membership. Yeah, so is a member of a woman in technology. There's so many different keywords that maybe you just didn't think about that you could kind of search for and kind of dive deeper into as well. So yeah, really, really good examples. I won't go into too much detail on this page, but a really good cheat sheet too. So after this presentation, it's worth kind of reviewing and going into more detail on it.
Yeah, well, I like the way you put this. So you give some amazing examples here, and if you could talk a little bit, like I recognize here you've got this natural language thing right at the very at the top, that first line where people write a certain way, right? And they
Right. Yes, exactly. A lot of people do. They write kind of like I read this, and they might use these kind of gender pronouns too as well. So yeah, it's a way to kind of find someone too as well, or Mrs., her, hers, herself, she, female. Yeah, there's just so many different things that you're able to search for on a social media site that you might not even think that is out there too as well. And then on top of that, you could do name generation. You could expand it even further, but I've just kind of included kind of some generic examples here as well.
awesome.
So yeah, really, really good call outs. Same thing with more diverse too. So I would just like to start up by doing a site .com and just adding that, and then adding my additional string. So you could add, your text string or whatever kind of area you're looking for. Site.com about minority owned. That's a really good keyword that I've used in the past too as well. Or there's just so many different ones. That you could kind of site search on top of the ones I've already suggested, YouTube, Medium, as well as just kind of looking for that, and then different association groups, different examples. I know I first talked about Native Current. I just kind of expanded on things that they haven't covered in their kind of tool as well.
Awesome.
So really good examples here. Yeah, and then I've added some more advanced search strings. So just to play off this, so you would have this, and then you could add more tech-related strings as well. So more advanced per se, but yeah, I would just recommend using kind of the first part, these two sections, and then kind of combining it with a more tech-related string as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, on top of that, there's many affinity groups on tech-related companies, at tech-related companies, excuse me. So Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Uber, Lyft, even Amazon, we've got different groups. So for example, women at Google, you could search for that title. A lot of people do put that in the profile because they're proud of it on LinkedIn or on other networking groups. And it's just a great avenue to kind of search for and find people in. So, and I've used these strings, and they've been very helpful too as well.
Yeah, and the tech, because the tech industry has been at this for a while, there's lots of information for people to go search, right? Any advice on how somebody who might be new to this and may not even know these affinity groups or business resource groups or whatever the organization calls them, any advice on how they might start to really explore this and understand what some of these groups are?
Yeah, great call out. I would say you could do a site search for whatever tech company you're going for, or whatever company you're going for, and just quote affinity groups. And there should be different lists that kind of come up. And of course, they're going to be all private groups, but a lot of people put this on their resume. They put it on a social media account, and maybe they don't say that they're Hispanic per se, but they're connected to this Hispanic Googler network that's HOLA on their LinkedIn profile. So it's just another way to kind of expand your search and kind of find more just examples. And so, yeah, I would recommend just kind of Googling this and searching affinity groups, and there should be more examples on top of these examples too as well.
Perfect.